Have you ever felt a shiver when passing a bush or felt like someone was staring at the back of your neck when you were alone in your room? Do not ignore that feeling because human intuition is rarely wrong. Tonight, I will show you the cause of those chills. We are going to step into the world of unnamed creatures, things that are lurking right on the edge of your safe life. Turn down the lights and do not take your eyes off the screen, because the scariest things usually appear when you blink. The bedside intruder, the thing under the blanket. We are inside a bedroom in Portland, Oregon. The witness woke up to a strange rustling sound at the foot of the bed. Thinking it was their pet dog, they pulled back the covers. They were wrong. Look at this creature. That is not a dog. That is not a cat. That is a biological error. Focus on the face. The anatomy is completely wrong. The eyes are massive, bulging, and set uncomfortably close together, staring with a human-like awareness that animals shouldn't have. But the most disturbing part? Look closer at the lower face. Where is the mouth? There is no snout, no jawline, just smooth fur. How does it eat? How does it breathe? This isn't a pet. This is something that crawled in from the dark, seeking warmth. If you feel something moving under your blanket tonight, don't check. Just slowly get out of bed and don't look back. The neon nightmare, the thing on Cannon Beach. This thing washed up on Cannon Beach, Oregon, looking like a discarded rubber toy. A tourist almost picked it up. That would have been a mistake. At first glance, it resembles a sea anemone painted in vibrant neon purple and blue. But the texture is wrong. The skin is far too thick, too leathery for anything soft-bodied. Those bright colors aren't for show. They are nature's universal warning sign. The true horror, however, is underneath. When flipped over, it reveals no jaw structure. Instead, it has a perfect circular maw, lined with concentric rows of needle-sharp teeth. This isn't a typical scavenger. That mouth is a biological drill, designed to latch onto flesh and bore inward. Science hasn't classified this mutation yet. If the ocean is starting to spit these things onto the sand, maybe rethink your swim today. The Titan moth, roommate from hell. We are standing in a cozy living room. Just family photos, colorful walls, and a monster clinging to the ceiling. Look at the scale relative to the person holding the phone. This isn't a bug. This is a bird-sized entity. You might think it's a kite or a Halloween decoration. You'd be wrong. It's alive. Compare its wingspan to the picture frames below. It dwarfs them. If that thing decides to take flight, the wind from its wings alone would knock those photos off the wall. And zoom in on the pattern. Those aren't just colors. They are false eyes, evolving to mimic a snake or a larger predator. It is staring at you even when it's asleep. When nature brings something this massive into your living space, the hierarchy changes. You are no longer the owner of the house. You are just sharing space with it. Don't look for a fly swatter unless you have one the size of a shovel. Just back away slowly. The living myth, the centaur of Yellowstone. A hiker in a remote valley of Yellowstone National Park just filmed something that shouldn't exist. Calling all Sagittarius signs, come verify your family tree. Look at the wide shot. At first, it looks like a horse, or maybe a rider. But zoom in. That is not a rider. Look closely at the anatomy. There is no saddle. There are no legs dangling on the side. The human torso is fused seamlessly, right where the horse's head and neck should be. And watch the muscle movement as it turns. A costume would buckle. A CGI glitch would slide. This thing moves with heavy biological weight. It is flesh and bone. We treat Greek mythology as fiction. But what if they weren't writing stories? What if they were writing history? If this creature is roaming the plains right now, then the history books need a serious rewrite. The midnight Pegasus. Come to the next destination. Deep within the forest, in the dead of night, most people expect to see a deer or a coyote. Instead, the camera captured this. Look at the creature standing in the center of the frame. It's a pristine white horse, but your eyes aren't deceiving you. Those are massive, feathered wings extending from its flanks. This isn't a costume. A costume would droop. These wings are held high, fully extended, displaying powerful muscle structure capable of flight. And look closely at the forehead. There is a distinct spiraled horn. This is technically an alicorn, a mix of Pegasus and unicorn. It stares directly into the lens, calm and regal, as if it knows it rules this forest. We think of these creatures as bedtime stories for children. But nature has a way of hiding its most beautiful and impossible creations in the dark. If this thing can fly, then the sky isn't as empty as we think. The spring break monster. Forget traditional sea monsters and look at this nightmare found in a muddy canal. It looks like a genetic accident that is a cross between a human and a bull terrier. The skin is pale and hairless and coated in slime, while the face is elongated with a snout that shouldn't belong on a bipedal frame. And when it opens its mouth, that tongue is impossibly long and mocks anyone who stares too long. But the detail that freezes your blood isn't the face, but the outfit. It is wearing patterned board shorts and a silver chain necklace. Why is it wearing human swim trunks when it certainly didn't buy them at a surf shop? Animals don't understand modesty, so this implies one of two terrifying things. First is mimicry, where it is intelligent enough to know that humans wear clothes, so it put them on to blend in badly. Second is that it took those shorts and that necklace off its last victim as a trophy. It is wearing the leftovers of its dinner. The avatar lizard, the boomerang beast. We are deep in an ecotourism park, where you usually expect boring koi fish or turtles. Instead, we get a creature that looks like it swam straight out of James Cameron's Avatar movie. Look at those colors, because they are absolutely unreal. The neon blue and orange stripes are glowing against the dark water, and it feels like a glitch in the Matrix. A tourist nearby actually screamed that its head looks like a boomerang, and he is spot on. That bizarre hammerhead shape is something prehistoric that biology class forgot to mention. It is mesmerizing, but you need to ask yourself why it is so visible. In the wild, nature doesn't paint things this bright for decoration. It is a warning sign. Just like the most lethal poison dart frogs in the Amazon, this neon skin is likely a biological billboard that screams, "Stay away." It might be beautiful, but that beauty is probably covering enough toxins to stop your heart. If you see this thing swimming by your boat, keep your hands inside. The Slavic giant Leshy. Take a look at this tiny bleak village where life seems to be swallowed by the northern cold. You think humans own this land? Look again at that thing. Standing tall behind those roofs is not an ancient tree. That is a Leshy, the lord of the forest, in Slavic mythology. Look at its scale compared to the wooden cabins below. It is 3 times the height of a 2-story house. Its body is not made of flesh and blood, but woven from twisted roots, dry branches, and the moss of 1,000 years of history. That gaunt skull wears a massive set of antlers, reaching up as if to pierce the gray sky. It stands there silent and blending into the birch line like a colossal ghost, watching the human ants below. This is not a predator hunting for food, because it does not need to eat you. It is the embodiment of the forest itself and nature's raw fury. It is there to remind mortals that we are just short-term guests in its territory. If you respect the old woods, it might guide your way. But if you dare to take an axe to its body or burn the trees, Do not be surprised when you become fertilizer for those very roots and never find your way home again. The monster goat. Do you see a normal farm scene? A goat bothering some sheep and a guard dog doing its job. Pretty standard stuff, right? Wrong. Look again. That is not a goat. Look at the scale. A normal billy goat is what 3 feet tall at best. This thing's shoulder is level with the roof of that wooden barn. And since when do herbivorous goats have rows of serrated teeth like that? Watch that front limb. It is not ramming, it is reaching. It keeps sliding that long limb through the gaps in the pen, trying to hook something and drag it out. The dog knows the truth. Listen to that bark that is not a normal getaway bark, that is the sound of pure terror. This is a predator using a very old and very effective disguise. It looks like prey to get close, but once it gets a hold of one of those sheep, the mask is coming off. That is not livestock, that is a monster wearing a goat suit. C+9 in the ocean. In Vietnam, we always shudder at the catfish living deep in graveyard soil because of their gruesome diet, but that is just the miniature version. Look out at the deep blue ocean where that massive cruise ship looks as tiny as a plastic bath toy. The thing gliding next to it is not a whale, but a whiskered monster the size of an entire island. Look closely at that flat head and those signature long barbels, because there is no mistaking it is a giant catfish. But its spine is lined with sharp dorsal fins standing up like watchtowers, and its body length stretches to the horizon. In classified documents, they label it SCP-169 or the Leviathan. If the catfish in the village pond only needs rotting flesh to grow, then imagine how much protein this kilometer-long monster needs to survive. It does not filter plankton, but swallows entire fleets of ships. Next time you are on a cruise and see the ocean surface go dark, do not think it is a cloud blocking the sun, because you might be sailing right over its lunch. The backyard fawn. Backyard security cameras usually just catch raccoons or stray cats, but this family caught something straight out of an ancient nightmare. You might try to tell yourself it is just a deer walking on its hind legs due to injury, but look at the posture. It moves with the casual arrogance and perfect balance of a bipedal creature, not a struggling animal. The head is unmistakably a goat with curved horns, but the torso is terrifyingly smooth and human, while those digitigrade goat legs prance across the lawn like a ballet dancer. This fits the exact description of a fawn from Roman mythology. We like to think of them as happy flute-playing characters from fairy tales, but the old myths warn that they are tricksters of the wild who do not follow human rules. The fact that it is this comfortable walking through a modern backyard suggests it is not afraid of us at all. The veil between our world and the ancient woods is getting thinner. If you see this thing prancing past your window, keep the lights off and the doors locked, because you do not want to join the dance it is leading. The Eagle Tribe, the Council of 1993. We always think of eagles as solitary predators ruling the skies, but this grainy footage from 1993 will tear apart everything you know about biology. Look at this desolate field where a secret ritual is taking place. This is not normal animal behavior, because they are not fighting over food or looking for mates, but standing heads together in a top-secret council meeting. The detail that will freeze your blood is right in the center of the frame. The eagle, standing in the central position, is not only standing upright like a human, but its talon is firmly grasping a long staff. Look closely at how it holds that object, because bird talons are evolved to tear flesh, not to wield weapons or tools with such proficiency. They seem to be listening to orders or reporting the situation with a terrifying level of respect and discipline. This is chilling proof that evolution may have taken a turn that we are completely unaware of. These birds have a society, a hierarchy, and perhaps even a culture of war. Maybe the eagles you see soaring every day are actually scouts on a mission to supervise humanity. The cactus octopoid. Look at this trash-filled ditch by the roadside and tell me what you see. A pile of dead leaves or a discarded cactus floating in the mud? If you think so, then you just made a fatal mistake. Look closely at that messy clump, because it looks like a freakish genetic splice between an octopus and a cactus, with spiky tentacles spreading out in all directions. The foolish cameraman got close to investigate, and that is when the monster decided to reveal itself. In a split second, it slammed down on the water, creating a massive splash that makes you jump. But the most horrifying moment is when it stands up on two legs to sprint away. That spiky camouflage was actually just a cover for a humanoid body with slimy green skin. This is not a plant, and it is not a sea creature that got lost. It is an intelligent amphibian using trash and vegetation to hide in plain sight. Next time, if you see a bush that can run, do not just stand there filming. The Mongolian death worm. Do you still think archaeology is a romantic job, like in Indiana Jones movies? Look at this death pit to see the brutal reality. This man did not find gold treasure, but he just woke up a slimy nightmare from the earth. Look at the creature wrapping tightly around him. That is not a South American python or an ancient tree root, but a giant earthworm, possibly the Mongolian death worm from legends. Look at its absurd size. Its body is as big as an industrial drainage pipe, with shiny skin divided into rippling muscular segments. It is constricting the victim with terrifying strength, and you can see the helplessness of humans against wild nature. We usually use worms as fishing bait, but at this depth, humans are the bait. This monster does not eat humus, but is a raw meat grinder. It is trying to drag that poor man deep into its dark lair to digest him slowly. Next time, if you feel the ground beneath your feet shaking, do not stand there investigating. Run away immediately before you are swallowed into the cold earth forever. The Japanese giant, Hachishaku-sama. In a peaceful rural region of Japan, some kids are excitedly filming a video of their outing by the rice fields. Everything looks innocent and pure, until you look into the distance. Standing looming in the middle of the field is not a scarecrow, but a figure that terrifies all of Japan. Look at that absurd height. It stands as tall as the utility pole beside the road, which means it must be over 8 feet tall. It wears a stark white dress, a wide-brimmed hat, and its body is freakishly thin. This is Hachishaku-sama, also known as the 8-feet-tall woman from urban legends. Rumor has it that if you hear a deep po, po, po sound behind you, your fate is sealed. This creature specializes in hunting children, and its appearance right in these kids' selfie frame is no coincidence. It is choosing its prey. The children are laughing and playing, unaware that a sinister entity is standing right behind them, just waiting for the right moment to take one of them away forever. The captured mermaid. At the coast of Italy, off the coast of Sicily, Italy, where ancient legends still linger, a Coast Guard team fished out what the whole world has been looking for. Look at the creature lying motionless, surrounded by those workers in orange gear. Its lower body is a long fishtail covered in emerald blue scales, shimmering under the sun, looking surreal in its beauty and perfection. But look at the upper body. It is a muscular humanoid torso with pale cold skin, visible rib cage, and a face bearing features hybrid between mythology and sea monster with sharp fins sprouting from its head. You think they are treating it to release it back? Do not be naive. Once it lies on the deck of a human ship, this creature will never have the chance to return to the ocean. It will become a specimen dissected in secret military bases. The ocean is not an endless warehouse for us to exploit or kidnap its children. If humanity continues to destroy the environment and intrude into forbidden territories, In the deep, the day, nature gets angry and demands payment in blood is not far off. The video has ended, but the fear has only just begun. Now when you turn off this screen, the darkness in your room will feel a little different. You will wonder if that tree shadow outside the window is really just a tree, or if the noise under the bed is really just the wind. These creatures are real, and they are much closer than you think. If you are brave enough to continue facing these nightmares, then comment the word unknown and hit that subscribe button immediately. Stay here with me because it is not safe out there. Good night, and do not look behind your back.